Welcome to another episode of How My Pet Lives. We're all about taking you behind the doggy door to see how pets live across the country. Chicago, the Windy City, and it lived up to its name because it was cold as hell. We were literally there during the coldest days of the winter. So what does that mean for Chicagoans and their pets? The answer lies indoors, so we went to warm up with the pets who play at the Barking Lot, one of the few indoor dog parks in the city.
If the weather is appropriate, we'll be taking them to the, in Lake County. We live up north. We live about 30 miles from here, actually. But these places like this, are so few and far between, and in the wintertime, they're invaluable because you like to get them out to run a little bit and play.
Tater Tot is his name. We was, depicted between names, and one day I like to eat tater tots, and one day I was like, it's a double syllable name, so I said Tater Tot, and we both agreed on it, and it's a great fit for him.
I call him Rio because he responds to it. I mean, it's really just, when you're mad, you'll yell at him real quick, but he listens, so that's all that matters.
My dog's name is Manny, and this is how I got his name. We actually are really big sports fans and named him after the boxer Manny Pacquiao.
But he's a lover, not a fighter, and people give love back to this social media sensation, and his adoring fans grow every day. How many followers do you have on Instagram?
Oh goodness, we're almost at 1 million now. It's like 900,000 something. Last time I checked, and growing. Yeah.
How many followers do you have on Facebook?
I think it's 1.5 million now.
Twitter?
At this point. On Twitter, I'm not positive on Twitter.
But it's Instagram.
Instagram is kind of where it's at, and Facebook is where it's at.
We wanted to see how Manny Nation responds to just one Facebook post, so we timed it. Well, we'll get back to that a little later, but first, meet the Manny. How did he become who he is now?
Insta famous, they call it. We just started posting pictures and videos on Instagram, kind of in his point of view and his voice, and it took off. Once people started seeing the sleep videos, the sync sleeping videos, and the Frenchie talk, I think is just kind of what gained his popularity all on his own.
That Frenchie talk, kind of his trademark.
That's not speaking. Can you speak? He's too excited.
When it was a puppy, it was the cutest little softest thing, and it got louder and a lot more piercing as he got older. But it's just kind of this like yappy, not barking, not yelling. It's just this weird kind of unique to Frenchie thing that he does.
It was one of the things that was so endearing to Manny's parents, Amber and John. Despite his fame, the 5-year-old French bulldog is just a typical pet at home. We saw it firsthand. Now their beloved Frenchie is a franchise. And it is a business now.
It has been, yes. I quit my job almost 2 years now, work for Manny full-time. My boyfriend has a business, but he works on Manny part-time as well, and it's really exciting. We want to make sure we can have our personal touch on everything, so kind of just took a leap of faith and went for it.
At 5 minutes in, he had 2,600 likes, 2,400 comments, 132 shares, 47,000 views. He's the official blogger for Southwest Airlines and has sponsors and supporters in multiple industries. But this philanthro Frenchie is all about paying it forward. He's raised thousands of dollars for pets and people. His giving spirit landed him at the nationally televised World Dog Awards, winning most popular and influential. I mean, he totally swept up. It was like Oscars.
It was exciting.
It's kind of like the Oscars for dogs.
A little bit. I mean, what other award show were that? It's all for dogs. It was funny when they were showing him accept his award, and it was literally the camera was just panning to him the entire time. It was hilarious. It definitely was all about them.
His stardom started simply, and it's something you might be able to do for your own pet. You are different in that you didn't start posting pictures to try to get him to be a star. You did it, and it was a gradual thing.
Right.
Because nowadays, there's so many dogs on Instagram, and I'm wondering, what do you think it is that makes Manny, well, we know, but become so much more famous than some of those other millions of dogs that are out there.
I mean, yeah, if you could just start posting pictures of your pet, I'm sure you'll get, a couple of followers, a couple likes, but you have to have a pet who's interested, first of all. Not all animals want to be dressed up or, taken video of or travel even. So you don't want to do anything that they don't want to do, that's for sure. And Manny's just always kind of had this little personality, and he's always been so human, I call him, and, just so interested in, coming with and putting on anything we do, and he'll do anything for treats. So it's never been hard to get him to do anything, and he's always been such a little natural.
A natural whose followers show their love in big likes, shares, and comments. The final tally before we left, 60,000 views, 6,000 likes, 3,000 comments, and reached 157,000 people. Boom! That's the power of this pooch. Funny what a little camera time can do for a pet. All roads lead to a Chicago institution, and one of my faves, the Wiener Circle. We couldn't be happier to showcase these dogs. Of course, a food staple in Chicago. One of the most popular things to get is a Chicago-style hot dog. The Wiener Circle is one of the most popular places to get one of those, and that's what I'm about to do. Hi, I'll have Chicago-style with everything on it. What is it on the grill? Yes, please. Thank you. You know, hot dogs are a fan favorite at big games, but our next Chicago dog is more focused on the competition and ready to take the field.
She is incredibly playful. She's incredibly nice and happy and loves people and just wants people to pet her, which is what happened with the ref. If she can touch somebody, she's got her paw on them, or she's got her paw on their foot, or she's got her butt on you. She's incredibly friendly and happy.
Athena is a competitor in the upcoming Puppy Bowl on Animal Planet. Her pet parent Beth is no stranger to big sports events. She just wasn't expecting this.
I am a sports journalist, and I certainly never expected to have a puppy, but it's funny how seamlessly she's fit into like the hustle and bustle life of being a reporter so quickly.
Beth adopted this high-energy pooch from Paws Chicago, who thought she'd be perfect for the gridiron.
Dogs are only eligible if they came out of a rescue, and they have to be in like a 4 or 6 week window of age. So they're only eligible one time, and Athena just happened to be the right age at the right time, and the producers at Animal Planet liked her photos that Paws sent in, so that's how we ended up going to the Puppy Bowl.
The camera loves her, and she doesn't shy away from the spotlight. Only plastic bags. Hey, we all have issues.
She is her own little television star. Of course, my dog would have media opportunities, naturally. It's not surprising at all. She's not in the starting lineup because all she wanted to do is get petted by the ref, but she is making several appearances throughout the Puppy Bowl, so we've heard from Animal Planet.
Athena has a friend named Cooper who we hear might be the big bull star, so we have a pair of pooches to root for during this year's big game. Cheering for the underdog is nothing new for Josh Feeney. He's an animal lover and pet advocate who makes it his mission to share the stories of some of Chicago's toughest pet cases.
I started volunteering at Chicago Animal Care and Control and with Safe Humane Chicago in January of 2012, so exactly 4 years ago. And I started when my wife started volunteering with Safe Humane Chicago just before me.
He wanted to do more to help these pets, so he grabbed his camera and started taking pictures. But being a dog photographer was new to Josh. He had mainly focused on wildlife photography. He realized he had a unique opportunity to share their stories.
Animal Care and Control is a city-run organization. It's not well publicized. There are a lot of rescue groups that have good funding, they have good reputations, they have good exposure. Animal Care and Control is not that place. So I thought something I can do is try to take better pictures and try to put them out there on social media and share them with the shelter and share them on Facebook and Instagram and Pet Finder and all these things to where people can see these dogs.
But the photography was a stepping stone, something that evolved into a project he had never dreamed of doing before.
Something else came out of you shooting photos of these shelter dogs.
The court case dog program specifically is as the name implies, is if the police raid someone's house, whether it's for dealing drugs or for domestic violence or for abandonment of an animal or abuse or neglect, or there's a whole lot of things. The police give the perpetrator an option on the spot to relinquish their dog to the city or go to court and fight for it. What we like to have happen is that the owner just says, you can have my dog. Easy breezy, a little less fighting involved, and they can have the book. We can take the dog back to the shelter, we can assess it, hopefully it's able to be put on the adoption floor and it can find a home. What happens a lot of the times is the perpetrator says, you can't have my dog, and if I have to go to court and fight for it, I will.
Safe Humane Chicago is the parent organization for different groups, including the court case dogs, and has been around for several years. To further their case, they created a coffee table book, The Court Case Dogs of Chicago. Josh shot every beautiful photograph. The cover is eye-catching, and the subject was a trailblazer.
Tell us about that fella.
So the fellow on the cover was the first court case dog that I ever met. So that was kind of the significance that he was on the cover, is he was the very first dog that I ever met at Safe Humane Chicago, and his name was Roly-Poly. We called him Ropo. As you can see, he's a big block-headed meat monster, but he's the nicest dog, a great dog, and he got adopted by a very nice family. And when we decided to do the book, we wanted a big dog on the cover. And we knew that he had contracted cancer, bone cancer, I believe it was, a little before that, and knew he didn't have much time to live. So we ended up deciding to use him for the cover. And then I think within a month or two of doing the cover photo, he passed away. But
Roll-Pole's legacy lives on in Hippo. Hippo is Roll-Pole's son and is loving life with his family, which includes 2 cats. Hippo and Josh have a unique relationship full of love and fun. Hippo is a fun subject for Josh, who literally gets down to their level with the dogs he photographs to get the best shots possible.
And boy, the pictures you take are really extraordinary.
I try to think in my head, what picture would I like to see of this dog doing that would make me, as just a person, not a photographer, want to adopt this dog? And I think the answer to that question is, pretend it's just my dog at home. What would I do if I had my dog at the park? I would just play with the dog like a normal dog.
You can buy the book at safehumanechicago.org, and you can find Josh on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, on the ground, rolling around with the dogs.
I put these pictures out there not to gain recognition, because I really don't care. I love when people see my pictures and say, hey, I saw your picture on Facebook and I end up adopting that dog. And that's just the best thing ever, because it's nice to know that you have an impact.
When it comes to impact, our final stop takes us to the home of an artist known for her biting wit and satire, shared through her cartoon creation, Sylvia.
She was a combination of my mother and her friends, and they knew each other since they were 14 years old. And my mother was really very, very funny and clever, but her friend Esther was the one who looked like Sylvia. My mother was very pretty. This woman was more hot. Big bust, high-waisted, long legs, kind of sleepy eyes, and would really say anything. So my mother was the one who could play with words, but Esther had the attitude.
A true Chicagoan born and bred, Nicole Hollander's Sylvia strip ran in papers across the country for 30 years, and she published 20 books, many collections of Sylvia, and a lot of cats.
I'm going to read off some of the titles of some of the books that you have written, which I just love. My cat's not fat, he's just big bone.
Yes, that's right. I mean, cats are perfect, but if you let them eat as much as they want, they will be enormous, because that cat will moan and whine that she's starving all the time.
Nicole's been involved in all aspects of media, and as a pet owner herself, we wanted to know what she thinks of today's pet parents.
Do you think pet parents are, in this day and age, fabulous or ridiculous?
I think it's really interesting that cats have become so important. I almost cannot believe it, that it's the most fun thing to look at online. I mean, people send it to me all the time.
Mm-hmm. Cats are the most viewed on YouTube. That's the most viewed of anything that you see on YouTube. Do you think what you did back then is kind of what pets are now?
I think so, because my cats really had attitude. And there was a dog in the house, and they would always torment him. I mean, you know, they would shave him, or they would dye him pink, or they often liked to give him perms, you know, or they would say, you know, we haven't seen him for a while, he's on the roof. He likes it on the roof, the air, you know, he loves it and all that. And I think they were like these cats who are online.
These days, Nicole performs stories she writes. Her creations have stood the test of time. And even though she stopped writing Sylvia 5 years ago, it is still very relevant. We asked, and here's her creation for How My Pet Lives. A fantastic finish to a very cool trip to the Windy City.